So it's now been around 3 or 4 months since I did the original review on these spring wooden dummy arms. Oh, there we go. There it is. And now, having had them in for a little while, I can give you some further feedback. Firstly, very importantly to me, they haven't damaged my wooden dummy in any way at all. I've been using them, some of my students have come here and used them, you know, and I'll share some of their feedback as well. I just wish they were here to do it right now. But there's been no damage to the wooden dummy at all. No one's been injured using them. Nothing's broken or fallen off. So in terms of the build, they're pretty good. They're pretty good in that regard. One thing that straight away was apparent to me, I didn't mention it in the video, but that a couple of my students have mentioned, is that there's no sound when you're using these. And there's a sort of, you know that normal sound you get when you're using a wooden dummy, when the wood hits the edge, that knocking sound, you don't get any of that. And that's a little bit of a shame. Other difference on an energy perspective is that when you push this, say I do a park sound here, and I hold that energy of that park sound, what you find is that this will come to a gradual stop of where you would sort of stop pushing. Very gradual. It builds from nothing to something a bit more, to something, and then you'll find you'll stop it point. When you use a traditional wooden dummy arm, it's got a little bit of movement at the base here, but then it will come to a very abrupt and sudden stop. It's resistance. And a lot of people like that actually. You push the arm a little bit, also no, stop. But it's nice working with different ranges of energy feedback, okay? Which is why I say it's nice to go from the traditional arms to these and use them in conjunction with each other. I wouldn't necessarily use these exclusively, as I said on the original video, but it gives you nice feedback, helps you with your timing, an understanding of pressure and the fact that something's going to be coming back towards you. It's not just what you give, it's what you receive. And then how you rush in and loss of contact and these sorts of things. You know what? Familiarity comes into it, right? And I'm so familiar with the traditional arms, and that's what I would want to use for doing my forms, all right? There was a comment from a viewer on the video that using these arms, that there's so much wrong with them, and it's gonna ruin your structure. Because when you push here, it allows you to go further and you'll have bad structure as a result of it. And if you watch the original review, you'll see that I said, for beginners, I wouldn't personally recommend these. I would recommend they go on traditional arms. And then later down the road, if they want to explore and practice, certain techniques and concepts, then by all means, put some springs in your dummy. But when you're developing initially, I wouldn't recommend these because you're gonna push too much, and as the viewer correctly said, it can adversely affect your stance and structure. However, I'll build on that and I'll say that if you've been training for a little while and you need a block of wood and some sticks to keep your structure good, then your structure wasn't good in the first place. So there's a fine line here of where we can use these things to assist us, but we don't want to use them as crutches. And I need this to not give, otherwise my structure is going to be corrupted. There's a balance, and you've got to be able to assess yourself properly as to if this is going to be beneficial to you. So what did my students think? It was 50-50. A couple of them really liked it, a couple of them didn't want to use it at all. When you're going to put the original arms back in, and that's how you're going to be. At the end of the day, you've got to make up your own mind. But as I said, you can practice some nice drills on this thing, working with the energy, working with that pressure, learning to go from one side to the next, working to work with the spring and to develop the output energy that you provide when you're doing your techniques. You have to be listening to the energy the whole time so you know where and when to stop. Never from just the arm, from the whole unit working as one, feeling for the point where to stop, feeling for when there's a gap so you can pursue and go through. This is a good opportunity to do that using springs. And that's my follow-up. Thanks very much.